Hi, this is Dave, everybody. Hey, a couple things I want to talk about. I had the opportunity to talk to actually a neighbor who's LDS who works actually in a construction company who builds and refurbishes the temples, the LDS temples. Fascinating. He was telling me some things. I asked him how much does a temple cost, and he actually started talking to me about the actual cost. He said the average temple costs about anywhere between 35 to 50 million dollars to build, the average. And he was telling me that he expects, what he's hearing is that the LDS Church is going to be building close to 12 to 15 temples every year for the next 10 years. That's a lot. That's a lot. So if you look at the amount of money that they're putting up, it's pretty close to 400 to 500 million dollars, almost a $500 million a year for temples. Now, that's pretty astronomical when you think about it. That's a lot of money going on. And he said all the money comes from tithing. And so, one of the things that I want to talk to you about is that throwing away a lot of money? I know they believe a lot in what the temples represent. I think it's really hard to understand why they have temples, since the early Christian church didn't have any temples. In the sense of Christianity, yes, in the Jewish faith it had, but not in the Christian church. You don't see anything about temples. And one of the things I really want to talk about too is this. This is really interesting. In Mormonism, they do claim that they have the restored church. Now, as you know, I'm Orthodox, and we claim that we are the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. So it started with the apostles. It started through Christ with the apostles, with the doctrine, with the traditions, with the dogmas, as well as the holy traditions. Everything that the apostles gave to the bishops was given. And the church started, I've said this before, there are 5 main churches: the Church of Antioch, the Church of Jerusalem, the Church of Alexandria, the Church of Constantinople, and the Church of Rome, right? Those were the C's, the centers of Orthodoxy, right? The Christian church, one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. Now, that church still is in existence from the beginning. There's a line of succession all the way from Peter, all the way to the through the patriarchs till today. And you see it, and we can validate it, we can show it, we can say, okay, this is what it is. And it's still here. The church is visible, the faith of the fathers is here, right? So I'm not talking to Protestants or anything else to anybody else on this. I really want to focus in on the Mormon concept, because they claim that it's a restored church from the beginning, right? So if that's the case, then they have to prove to us, the actual church that started with the apostles, they have to prove to us where we failed, where the priesthood was lost, where the church collapsed and failed. And if you can't do it, then you can't use the concept of this restored concept, because it doesn't work. We don't have to prove to anybody else, because we have been the church from the beginning, and it's still here. Anybody who claims that they are the restored church has to come to us and say where it fell, where it collapsed, at what date, and what year. Where was the church failed? It's just like this, okay? And I'm going to make it quite simple. I have a car. That's hypothetically, right? I have a car with all the engines, all the parts, all the tires, all the numbers in it, everything that's just perfect. The engine's working great, right? And all of a sudden somebody says, well, that car is messed up. And I'm like, okay, well, it's the car that I originally have. It's still working, all the parts, all beautifully paint job, everything's there. And let's say, hypothetically, the Mormon church comes and says, well, we're the restored car. And I'm like, well, the car's here. You have to show me why this car isn't here. It's not broken. It works fine. So it's really on their heads, on their position, on their backs to say, you know what? You have to, when we make a claim, you have to prove to us that it failed. And that's the big issue, right? As of today, I have never experienced any LDS person who comes and tries to say, okay, this is where it failed, this is how it failed, this is the year it failed. Because realistically, it's still here today. The car works perfectly fine. We have all the parts, right? Everything's in it. So please, if you're LDS, I mean, I really want to know this. Tell me exactly what year that it failed, the church failed. Tell me how it failed, and tell me if it failed, why are we still here today? Tell me that you can't just say, well, because it's Satan. Satan destroyed it. I mean, I want specific dates, and try to do that for me, okay? Because there's a lot of people who, Orthodox and Catholic, who actually would respond to you to give you more education. But please, if you're LDS, give me your best shot, but prove it historically, factually, okay? All right, God bless, guys.